Misama ubi biara akwaba bimba Odeneho TV so sene any day kan wo hwe ma mesle no like no subscribe no share video we ede ama wa foforo na bibia etimi akoyi ede ama na busua aha ane ede nsempa ebre na ye fa yin nkire nsem no na chese NIB for na chese omutu omho ekosi intim fodwo efie no eno na ehun nsensem egusu aye bebre na busua NPP fo ni na bu efu yi enya samketo omo chese se be ya omo de Reverend Intim Fajwo ebeko dia ene no omo nsesa NPP foni na emfanko omo ngu NPP party na omo hu say now NDC party no na ewo power over Ghana na chese omo chese omo so no omo ye nipa na chese eni kwan se obi etietie ye omo fa ho de so anase oba ebe ye omo dia ope no okọ we na Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia so de nsem eto abonte na o chese ebra sansem ni si ye se NIB for akwakopie o Reverend Intim Fajwo efie no ade a onu so timi bohwi ekọ na busua onu so ede ni nsem ebeto abonten mema wako na wakwakotie medawase.
I visited Reverend John Intim Fajwo, MP for Asin South and ranking member of Parliamentary Select Committee on Defense and Interior. Reverend Fajwo was in high spirits and undaunted. I urge all party faithful to remain calm, steadfast, and law-abiding in this period of unfortunate political persecution. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said, "We are political persecution and nothing else." Paragraph 2, I said, "I wish to reiterate my earlier submissions to the President, John Dramani Mahama, to immediately rein in his security operatives. State institutions must not be reduced to political tools used to harass and intimidate opponents. Ghanaians will not accept this descent into lawlessness and fear. Our democracy is hinged on due process and rule of law." And then somewhere Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia edited. In fact, kama say John Dramani Mahama ne naban use security agencies no and omo de harass nkrofo. Meanwhile, in actual fact, any kwan say ebasa enu akojo opon kroma eko channel 1 TV so odi details ni nyina ni omo ko ho ekosiye ni ekofa baaye ni nyina odi atodwa yenko na yenko tie.
Charlie, boss. Yes, sir. Obi ma me data on am send movie. No me so me phone so I say me video ya. Baby, me need data. Ntaji e wa no ma.
Didn't find the statement, you couldn't find who was owning up to it, and they were looking for one Alaji or something like that.
That was February 9.
And since then, you hadn't heard anything about that, such a severe matter.
Yeah.
Then, number 2, which he raised while he led the committee to do this press conference, was about the almost $350 million of cocaine caught on the streets going or coming from the central region, which had also not been adequately addressed. Who is it? Has a person been arrested? Are people before court or what? And then the third one was these 2 different flights connected with Grand Canaria and Luanda, which had come into the country at various times and had stayed here for an odd period of time. And he raised the argument, leading the committee, that government needs to investigate these matters because there are suspicions associated with it and let the public know. That's the context of what the Minority Caucus, through the Committee of Defense and Interior, put out on that day.
But did he also not say that Ghana was becoming a hub for cocaine?
Those were the fears that he expressed. Because you see, when you have these kind of matters, if you do not address them adequately, this is the fear that will crystallize in the hearts and minds of people. And that's why he invited the government to get into a proper inquiry into these matters and settle them. In fact, they even went further to call for a full-scale public inquiry or even a bipartisan parliamentary committee to look into these matters. That's the context within which they spoke on the very first day.
So in relation to the 2 aircraft, was he asking or he was claiming?
He was asking for, and that's why he said suspicions, and went further to ask for investigations to take place into these matters.
So the man is not here, and I'm not putting him on trial, but I feel like there needs to be some sequence in the logic of saying there are two suspicious planes. Why were they here at this time? Investigate, and then you conclude that then therefore we become a cocaine. I mean, how do you question and then conclude at the same time?
Between the intelligence which he put on the table and what you would call the conclusion, he raised the issues of what the suspicions were. That associated with these things, these are the suspicions. You need to investigate, because if you don't investigate and get the right thing done, if there are people doing something funny, find them out and deal with them, because you could be at the top in government and you don't even know what people are doing at the bottom. So you got to investigate and deal with them, because we don't want our country to become a place like this. This was an invitation to the government to do the right thing. You will notice that the president on that very first day gave a response that these are serious matters. They have to be investigated. And so he was asking a number of bodies to get involved. Just about 2 days later, then the minister responsible for government communications literally comes out with guns blazing, saying that there's actually no need for an investigation. In fact, he used the word bogus at a point in time, and goes further to say that there's no substance in these matters. No time needs to be wasted on it, contrary to the president's instruction. And then he proceeds to provide answers or explanations from government. Now, why Ntim Fodjo came back was because a lot of those answers had gaps in them.
Before we go there, Kojo, if you read what the president said carefully, are you sure the president, because I think you guys can put it back on the screen, the president was basically calling on Ntim Fodjo to provide more information, which means that the president took his conclusion seriously. It's not the same as saying, go and investigate.
If you can put what the president said.
My attention has been drawn to allegations made at a press conference. It's right in front of you.
Yeah.
By Honorable Ntim Fodjo. Reverend Ntim Fodjo. So,
regarding two suspicious flights arriving at the Kotka International Airport,
suspected to be involved,
because those were the words that he
in drug trafficking and money laundering.
Government takes all allegations seriously, and to ensure a thorough and transparent investigation, I have directed all relevant investigative agencies, including NACOC, CID, NIB, to immediately and fully collaborate with the Honourable Member of Parliament so he provides all necessary information to investigate the allegations and take all action necessary to expose any
pause there. So the weight of, again, my understanding in common English is that the president places the onus on the MP that collaborates with him so he provides all necessary information to investigate the allegations and to take all necessary. So basically,
you see, in this country,
he's putting the onus on the guy.
But that can be the case. We are not in court proving somebody's guilt where you say he who alleges must prove. The president knows that in this country we have a Whistleblowers Act, which actually provides a legal framework for how you treat matters like this when the whistle is blown on them. In fact, it could be written, it could be oral. I have a copy of Act 720 here, and it spells out how, when you even make such a report to the office of the president, they have to take it. So the step that the president took was the right one, to invite the various bodies to investigate the matter, and in so doing, of course, collaborate with the whistleblower so to do. However, contrary to what the president said, his Minister for Government Communications is the one who came in, I think, on the 3rd, rubbishing all of this, saying that an investigation literally was not necessary. They had conclusions already that this was bogus, and that they were going to make a scapegoat out of Ntim Fodjo. That's where the dynamics changed. In fact, when I listened to that interview on Asempa FM, I was shocked. That if you have a whistleblower who has drawn your attention on behalf of the entire minority caucus to these things and is asking for an investigation, and the president himself in his wording is talking about these suspected matters, blah, blah, blah. And I very much believe the president wanted to proceed with Act 720 kind of framework. Why would you come out now seeking to attack him, intimidate him,